This time period included one of the biggest disasters in U.S. history, but it was also the time of the Roaring Twenties. In the Roaring Twenties, the bob haircut was a symbol of rebellion against the old and more strict code of moral and manners. Without the Roaring Twenties, the country's manner and moral conflict today probably wouldn't exist. Waistlines were at the waist, but not fitted. Women wore suits with long hemlines and full skirts, with belts at the waist of the jackets. Dresses and suits were also worn, loose, sometimes even baggy. By 1923, waistlines began to drop to a point between the natural waist and hips, while styles continued to be loose and baggy. In 1924, the waistline dropped to the hip. In 1928, hemlines rose to the knee and dresses became more fitted. Men began to wear two-tone spectators with knickers. They also wore wide trousers, sometimes as wide as 24 inches at the bottom. The knickers and +4s were popular with sporty types and were buckled 4 inches below the knee. Men wore lighter colors in the summer, and darker colors and animal fur was worn when the weather got cold. And at this time, boys were wearing their raccoon coat. Golden Glint shampoo was made in 1925. This product was made for certain hair types. There were very few other products during this time period that were made for specific uses. Coca-Cola helped create the modern-day Santa Claus. The Coca-Cola Company began a campaign to remind people that Coke was a great choice in any month. This began in 1922 with the slogan, "Thirst knows no season," and continued with the campaign connecting a true icon of winter, Santa Claus, with the beverage. Coca-Cola today is still widely popular. In 1928, the first cartoon sound, Steamboat Willie, was released. It was the beginning of Disney's entertainment empire. The films were extremely popular. Mickey Mouse's image was on all types of merchandise. The movie shows the playfulness of Mickey as he bounces along to music that plays throughout the cartoon. It is this playfulness and the singing and dancing in his following cartoons that the world falls in love with. King Kong was made in 1933. It became popular as soon as it was released. The film made $2 million at the box office. Its popularity later led to remakes in 1976 and in 2005. In 1975, it was named one of the 50 best American films by the American Film Institute, and in 1991, it was deemed culturally, historically significant by the Library of Congress and selected for preservation in the United States National Film Registry. In 1998, the AFI ranked the film number 43 on its list of 100 greatest movies of all time. This showed that the creative side of America wasn't lost, even though the country was struggling as much as it was. This is one of Robert Frost's most popular poems, published in 1920 in Harper's Magazine and in 1923 in Pulitzer Prize-winning book of New Hampshire. It discusses the end of the world, likening the elemental force of fire and the emotion of desire and ice with hate. Complete Tales of Winnie the Pooh was written in 1926. The books are a father's gift to his son, Christopher Robin. Written for a child, the stories reflect the concerns, games, and guidance of an ongoing early childhood. This is one of the greatest children's stories. Children today still read these stories and could now watch movies or episodes of it as well, showing that its popularity continues to grow over time. I'm no good without you. Isle of the Deep South was painted by Aaron Douglas in 1934 during the Harlem Renaissance. It gave a different spin to the myth Happy Southern Plantation Negro by painting a happy group of African Americans singing and dancing surrounded by suffering blacks, which indicates oppression and racial inequality. Also, the star in the painting is really the red star for communism because the painter wanted racial equality, which the theory of communism provided. This was painted by George Bellows in 1924. The boxing match represents through hard work and determination one can overcome any obstacle and obtain their dream, as depicted as the man knocking out his opponent who is the obstacle. Mary Louise Brooks was born November 14, 1906 and died August 8, 1985. She was an American dancer and model, showgirl, and silent film actress, known for popularizing the bobbed haircut. She also had an influence in the graphics world. She's probably the most prominent style icon of the 20s because her looks are still being replicated 90 years later. Rudolph Valentino was born May 6, 1895 and died August 23, 1926. He was an Italian actor and an early pop icon and sex symbol of the 1920s. He was known as the Latin lover. Valentino was loved by just about every female of his time. He starred in 5 movies, as well as joining a traveling musical that led him to the West Coast. The Band-Aid was invented in 1920 by Earl Dickinson, an employee of Johnson & Johnson, for his wife who frequently cut and burned herself while cooking. They weren't popular at first, but became widely used in 1924 when the sterilized Band-Aid was made. Over time, they've been improved, coming in different shapes and sizes and being waterproof. The Band-Aid, as simple as it is, survived the test of time and is still widely used today. Louis Armstrong was an influential role in the music of the 1920s. He was known for his great stage presence and an inventive cornet and trumpet player. Armstrong was a foundational influence in jazz, shifting the music's focus to solo performance. Armstrong was also an influential singer. He was extremely skilled in scatting.